Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be at. This is the Microsoft Graph Community Call for September 1st, 2020. Welcome you, everybody. This is going to be a great discussion today. We've got some topics on the Insights API, the To-Do API, as well as a community demo from our partner at Qkom. So on our agenda, my name is Brian T. Jackett. I'm on the Microsoft Graph Customer and Partner Experience team, CPX. Joining us, we also have Jeremy Thake, who's our manager, Dana, who's going to be helping us with our moderation. Before our discussion points today, we're going to be talking about the Insights API from Elvira. On our To-Do APIs, we've also got some important information to announce from Avijit. And from our community section, we have our partners with Andreas and Dominic, who will be presenting on a certain thing that they've built out they want to share with everyone, this leveraging Microsoft Graph. So without further ado, we will jump into our first agenda point, which will be with Elvira.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Elvira Makhmutova. I am program manager at Microsoft. So I am working on a backend service, which is calculating relationship between user and the content. And we are powering lots of Office 365 experiences. Today I'm going to talk about new item insights privacy settings that we recently released. How do they affect Insights API and also other insight-based experiences? So I'm going to start a little bit with history. Here is, you can see Delph application. Delph was released in 2014, and behind the scenes at that time was a backend service called Office Graph. So Office Graph at that moment was calculating the relationship between user and files in Exchange and SharePoint actually. So, but from 2014 until now, Office Graph evolved dramatically, and now it's a mature and powerful service, which is providing insight-based experiences for lots of application and services on the M365, for instance. It's not only Delph right now. For instance, if you will go to People Card, you can see in a files insights which we calculated for you. Also Office Start, also we're improving search quality by that insight. I'm just showing just a couple of examples how it's actually working. At that moment in 2014, when we launched Delph and Office Graph along together, we also delivered shared privacy settings. So it was able to disable Delph and item insights both on a user and tenant level. So that new settings is all about to split up the privacy story for two independent pieces and provide for our customers opportunity to tune item insights separately from Delph application. So what does it actually mean, disabled item insights? First of all, what does it mean insights? If you see some of the suggestions and recommendations in M365, Microsoft all the time respect security aspects. So you don't see files and you don't have access to them. Insights as a relationship between you and some of the other entities. It can be content, it can be other users, it can be sites, plenty of them. So the insights are recommended for end users at the right time and shape to help users to make things done easier and boost productivity overall. So saying disabling item insight doesn't mean disabling access to the document or the document activities. It just means disabling generation and visibility some of the insights in Office 365. For instance, let's imagine, by the way, that feature is available only for global administrator. So global admin decide that Alex will work with the very sensitive information and his insights need to be disabled. And he opted out. What will happen actually? Of course, Delve will stop showing some of the documents. Also, we will stop showing files in a people card. Also, we will stop gradually showing for Alex colleagues recommendation based on Alex files. And also, item insight allows to promote relevant to this person document in search. Thus, disabled item insight will lead to less personalized and degraded search quality. The full list of affected scenarios you can find in documentation, which I provided links. Yeah. So, how to customize item insights actually? Here is, I recorded some of the video. Yeah, it's running. I will just comment it. So let's imagine you're a tenant admin. You are going to the organization entity. Here is you need to put ID of your organization, settings, item insights. So item insight settings is a two-parameter, is enabled in organization and disabled for a group. By disabled, item insights enabled for the all organizations, of course. So let's imagine a scenario that you need to disable for one Azure group item insights. What to do? You need to know ID of that group, right? So go to the portal. Azure portal, find that group or create, copy object ID, paste it here, yeah, and send that as a patch request. Here, as we can see, error because there is not enough permissions. So it's important for admin to grant access. So we need to find user read and user read write at permissions and grant consent. Okay, couple of seconds. And run query again. Here we go. We can see it's successful and the new value of disabled for a group parameter is set. Keep in mind that in order to all of this M365 experiences apply to that settings, it takes up to 8 hours, I think. Yeah. Also, you can tune that settings via PowerShell. Again, all of the instructions you can find in the documentation link that I provided. What else I want to talk about today? I want to we talked about how item insights exposed in Office 365 and how that insights help make things done easily and quickly. Also, can we use Insights API to build smart experience? If you are interested, let's model the situation. Then, when in your organization, some of the people, Christy, Megan, Alan, Alex, is working on the same product, and they're like working with the team. They're constantly sharing information, chatting about sending info to each other. Attaching files and etc. And you want to build a portal or that team and show some trends, some recommended documents which might be useful for the rest of the team. So how to do it actually using MS Insights API. You need to call trending API for each of the users. And here I go, you can see there is a parameter called trending rate. So trending rate shows the value that that item might bring. It's actually show how valuable that item might be. So you are doing fan out query for all of those users. And you just simply sort by trending rate and showing resulting, 20 documents in a web team portal. And For instance, if Alex, again, he's working with super sensitive info and you cannot show actually his documents as trending around for somebody, you can disable them. And this is basically mean that documents will still be in the system, they still will be available, but just that documents will not appear as recommended insight for the rest of the team. So yeah, also want to shed light a little bit what is coming soon. We are continuing to provide more granular privacy controls, and we also introduce a new user level control to provide individuals control over the visibility of their own item insights, unless otherwise specified by admin-facing settings. So at the time of the release, we will also support migration of the pre-existing Dell settings into the new control. Also, if you have any similar scenarios related to Graph Insights and you think we need to cover them too, feel free to connect with us, with me personally, and we're open to suggestions and we will be happy to improve our privacy story. This is all.
Thank you very much, Elvira. So we'll open the floor for any questions that you might have regarding Insights APIs. Feel free to either type in the chat window or if you want to use the raise hand feature. One question I do have for you, Elvira, is regarding the insights. Does this have any impact on search or what you might be able to return from like a search results, whether in SharePoint or Outlook or any other location?
We are not affecting search results, but with that settings do affect search quality. Yeah.
And how does that impact quality? I'm just curious.
So if we do understand that documents has a very high trending weight, we will most likely show you in the first page of the search results, for instance.
And one other call out I do want to make, in the chat window, I did share the PowerShell commandlets for update-mg organization setting item insight. Nice lengthy command. So if you're looking for another way to set this setting other than the patch command, that is one that's going to be available in our Microsoft.graph PowerShell SDK. All right. If there's no other questions, thank you very much for your time. This is very helpful. I know it's going to be useful for a lot of our administrators and other folks who are managing their tenants. So thank you again for your time, Elvira.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, bye.
Take care. Andreas, are you still on the line?
Yes, I'm in the line.
Would you mind if we jump to your section for you to do your demo and presentation?
Hi, my name is Andreas Rosen, and we are a small ISV company from Germany. And for all the years what we're doing, most of the time things have to do with integrations. And we are in the scenario between the systems. So we are ISV for Salesforce, and we are heavily looking into calendaring systems, either on former Domino or today Microsoft. And so we were getting in touch with the Graph API. And the idea of what we saw what would be a good idea to do is using the Graph API as the front door or the back door or the site for your content in Office 365. Okay, so the idea was how to combine the two worlds. And so we started an app for Salesforce and using heavily the Microsoft Graph. So we said we only want to use the Graph API. We don't want to go around the corners. And that is the story behind. I would like to show a little bit what we achieved and later tell a little bit what we learned on the way and what we still try to learn. Okay, here is the conceptual picture. On one hand, you have a CRM system that has a lot of structure, and on the other hand, you have actually the knowledge place where people create their own data in a way how they would like to document knowledges. That is two different things, and the world needs two things. So the one thing is for a business purpose, you need structure, and for teamwork, you need space. And the idea is the question is how we can bring it together. So I don't know how much you know about Salesforce. Of course, we're here in a Microsoft edition, but they're quite nice for developers. So we are able to build our own controller and then move it into the user interface. So even installing our stuff is done in 15 minutes to half an hour. Set it up on both sides, so that is not a big deal. And with then the user, the customer can actually say which object should have a relationship to the data. So a lot of data in Salesforce is handled by custom objects, so it doesn't make sense to be hard-coded. So we decided to work with every object. And that is in the end how it looks. It looks like you are in a normal Salesforce world. You have all your standards around you that you bought with the system, plus a little extra we bring from our side. I would like to go further to a demo so that we see how does it look. This is now my Salesforce arena. We have a little account over here, a lot of, I think, account and contacts. That is a standard to every object in to every CRM. And here you can see we have this beautiful component middle in the list of other stuff, like a details tab that is a standard Salesforce tab. We have here our tab. And you directly see into the heart of our application. That means we search and we link stuff. And so when we link something, we keep the direct URLs. So if you click on it, you would directly be in the right endpoint. If you click on the user, here we see we still use the Delph endpoint. So if I'm clicking on that user, you would see myself in Delph, and you would find my telephone numbers and the documents we just learned what I'm working on. Just go back. So when we do searching and linking, the first thing is important, the search. How you can do a search from inside another system to Microsoft? And that was the first lesson learned. For weeks, I was searching the global search endpoint in the Graph API or in Microsoft. I thought I was too stupid to find it. Later, I found out they just building it. So sorry, it took us a while. And then we said, okay, we have to change our strategy. We have first to select the places where we want to search. So a simple one would be, I'm searching for a colleague. I'm going to the people endpoint and ask for everybody in my organization. So with one click, I create an email, or with one click, I'm in the Delph profile. Let's go somewhere else. Let's say what is very trending. That is the My Teams endpoint. So here we are doing, when you're coming from Graph API, we're doing two things. We first ask for My Teams, my joint teams, and then we create with the first 20 teams we're creating a batch call to get the channels. So we wanted to simulate a little bit the standard we have with inside the Teams environment. So if I go, let's say, to the dev corner, here you could see we had to do some extra work, because when you work with a team channel, you get an ID, but you don't get a proper URL. Most of the time, the Graph API gives you beautiful URLs. This time we had to build a URL. So if I press on the URL, I'm in a deep link to the team here. As well, you can see here some other stuff. Here we're doing push notifications with the Teams email function. Let's go back to where we are. Okay, so here easily we are able to link a channel. Let's create such a link. Here we can say this channel is mail enabled, so we can do push. And when we were coming up with the linking, we were thinking it is always important when you link to places, to documents, you should give the person who knows the links, who knows the places, a chance to say why he links something. That was just an idea into the UI. And so when we would go back, we would now see that we have a channel linked. We do special things for folders. We will do in the future also for channels. So we had here a folder, and this linking a folder, the people, and I've just seen Steines in the call, that was our colleagues from Holland wanted directly have something nice. So here we list on the endpoint, we list actually the whole folder. And this is what, all this linking and searching, it's interesting, but this is where people get really interested, because that is the way even my generation is thinking. You have, on one hand, you have an account, on the other hand, you have a folder where everything is put into that account, or you have a sales or service case, and the other hand, you have the specific folder. So, and they really like that you just do on one click, you have the document inside. So one click, the PDF is open. If you see how much clicks you have to do in Salesforce to open a PDF, that's a little bit a nightmare. And what do they also like? They like things like, yes, sharing the editor, just jumping into the editor and sharing something. So these powerful features of the SharePoint or Teams or Microsoft environment that really makes fun if it's suddenly inside another system. And of course, what happened to us? So, okay, we have some search capabilities. Okay, I can search for PDFs. So things like this. And then we show the answer. So in that folder and all subfolders, or let's take a thing like admin, then you can see, yeah, I have a folder admin, I have documents with named admin. But when you do—
This is really great to see the integration here, Andreas. Just one kind of quick question. All these actions, they're taking place as the logged in user, is that correct?
Yes, we do everything delegated. And there is also a good tip. If you program delegated, you have to test like hell. Because first we were doing everything as an admin. And then we were finding out that the admin right and the delegated right is so far away from each other. And we were nearly shocked about we had to throw away our code. And some things are even better than the documentation. We tested with normal users. You can get the teams, you can get the channels, and you get also now what is on the channel. So even the documentation tells you sometimes you need much higher, right? They are working on that people get their rights. That was also something. When we were starting with Graph API, it was for us totally artificial that the reader rights was correct, but the editing rights were different. So that is something you have to learn and work with this. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's something, if you come from a different system, you don't expect. Okay, so back to the folders. So when we are here, so when people starting working with folders, they look on a folder and they say, oh, when I'm in SharePoint, I can upload files. And so they all pressed us to build an uploader. First time we tried to build the uploader, we really ruined the project. It was not working. Second time, we had some help of Brian. Thank you. It's a very good idea to have Brian in the team here. And yeah, we worked along the sample, and then we just created an uploader. So here you can see our beautiful multi-file uploader. And the same thing is, if you can upload, we get a request, can I remove the file because it was the wrong one? Yes, so yeah, thanks to Brian, we now have this beautiful one. And of course, we want to see as a nice dog and not the, I think we were on the page where you could see what the size of the picture was. So it was
right.
not,
All the metadata was not very helpful.
yes, the metadata, and that was not what we want. Okay, so we've done a lot of good things, and it's working nicely. We have it now in production at the first customers. One customer, let's say, that is all what we have as user features here. So we exposed our classes here so that a normal Salesforce developer can create things in one-liners. So from the perspective of Graph, we started a little SDK to make it easier for the Salesforce developers. And we tested it in our case, I think was 18,000 folders, including the right linking in 20 minutes or half an hour. So yeah, that was speed with the Graph API. So, okay, I give up, thank you, or give back. And I hope you liked the idea what you can do with the Graph. And we would like to share where we get problems, or when people want to do something similar in their applications, they should just ping us. We like to share our nightmares or positive ones.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, Andreas. This is a great way to see Microsoft Graph helping a solution, keeping people in their context of where they're working. This is leveraging all the power of the M365 platform behind the scenes. Very, very, very much thankful for your time today. All right, with that, we will flip over to the Microsoft To-Do APIs. I believe Rohit is going to be presenting.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about To-Do. We are really excited because after a long time, we are releasing this Microsoft Graph To-Do APIs, the personal task manager of Microsoft 365. And we are really excited to see what all you can build with that. But before you do that, let us tell you what exactly you can do with this first version of To-Do Graph API. And we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to know what more you want to see in this API. So I'll just move and rush quickly through the content here. Feel free to stop me if you want to ask any questions. I'm going to roughly touch upon what To-Do APIs are. So in general, everyone is facing a lot of tasks in this new COVID era. You have your personal tasks, you have work tasks. Tasks are everywhere, or rather, tasks are scattered everywhere. And it can be available on your Microsoft Teams, in your Outlook as an email, Edge as an item that you want to read, an article, anything. So that's where there is a research done by Workfront Inclusive. They said that workers are spending more time managing the work rather than actually doing it. 71% said they need a single destination to understand and manage work, and I am one among them. So Microsoft To-Do is that place for all your tasks in M365. With Microsoft To-Dos, you can bring all your tasks in one simple task list. You can prioritize things and get them easily. And this is the magic of To-Do. So To-Do, you can collect what you need, and there are features like all the integrations that are available, different types of organization into different task lists is available, some smart lists are available, and To-Do is available on all the platforms you can think of, all the major ones. And apart from collecting, you need to focus on the tasks that you have collected. So there are features like My Day, steps. You can break down your tasks into different items, into different subtasks, and complete them easily. And then the last piece, completion. You can do that by simply using the link resource, which is a new property we are launching this time. I'm going to talk about that quickly and some intelligent suggestion you'll find on the app today. Let's talk more on this. On a bit high level, if we take a high level view, To-Do is the personal task manager of M365, and Planner is ideal for teams task. So if you are creating tasks for just yourself or a very small group like your wife or in your home or one-on-one with your colleague or your manager, To-Do is ideal, and that is all personal task domain. But team tasks where you want to collaborate, you want to assign things to people and want to maintain visibility across team, Planner is your task manager. So having this idea in mind, To-Do is integrated with almost all the major task platform or hubs in M365. Teams, Outlook, Cortana, Microsoft Launcher is one of them. And in Teams, specifically, you have a special tab. It's called Task. It's recently released. It's getting some rave reviews. People are loving it. You can find To-Do task list on this top left, and it's called Personal List, To-Do List, and all your personal To-Do list will be available here on Teams. And on Outlook, you'll have the side pane where all the To-Do tasks are available. Plus, there is this dedicated tab available here, which if you tap on it, you'll get a full-fledged To-Do view. Actually, To-Do is an upgraded version of Outlook Task. And with that, and there is this information we want to share, that we are deprecating Outlook Task API with this release, and we would love you to move to To-Do API, start using that more performant, more capable modern APIs. And yeah, so there are these lot of partners we have been talking to currently. We recently announced integration with Samsung in their Unpacked event. We'd love to talk more on that if you're interested. But apart from that, there are tons of use cases you can see we are covering with these plethora of partners. The major ones are you can create tasks from your workflows, like through email, through your notification on mobile phones, or any workflow that you have in your apps. Plus, if you have a task application, like in our case it's Planner or Jira, you can bring tasks from there to To-Do, and people can have that single view that they need. Also, if you have a custom application, enterprise application, you can create tasks using our To-Do APIs and bring all these tasks which are available in To-Do in your system. I'm going to move quickly and talk about what entities we are launching. So we are launching 3 entities in this release: Task List, which is container of all your tasks, and obviously Tasks, which is something like this, which have all these like title, status completion, importance, due date, reminders, etc. And this is the new linked resource we were talking about. This is part of task entity. And here you can store link back to the entity in your application. For example, in this case, this task was created by Asun, and they are vendors who actually connect Microsoft apps and Atlassian apps, in this case, Jira. So whenever a task is assigned in Jira to a person, a corresponding task is created in To-Do using their application. And you can create this linked resource using that. And it will have the link back and some context so the user understands what this task is about and tap on it and can go to Jira directly. And yep, I just explained some details of it. Like it has some application name like Jira, web URL, which you can tap and open the web URL or that link that you have saved here, and some display name to give you context. And before Bhakti goes and shows you some demo, I'll tell you some scope. So these 3 resources I've just talked about. We support Delta Sync, we support Open Extension, and we support delegated access at this point of time. And the scope requires the permission task.readWrite. That's the existing permission that is there in Outlook Task in case you are already using that. So you can just use the same permission and don't need to change anything from that point. We support both enterprise and the MSA accounts, and there is documentation we'll share after this call as well. Bhakti, over to you.
Thank you, Rohit. So I'll give a quick demo of our new to-do task APIs using our Graph Explorer. So in the Graph Explorer, you can also find the samples that are there for to-do tasks. Our API is currently in beta, so you can go try it out. It is under the name of to-do. And for getting all the task lists, the containers of the task, we have a get call on list. So here you can see there are a few lists already added. Two of them are created with your Outlook account. One I created for experimental purposes sometime back. So I'll go forward and create one list so that we can add a task to it. So now we have created a list with a display name MS Graph. It shows that I'm the owner of this list. This list is complete. So now I'll create, I'll see tasks on this list. So currently this list would be an empty list. I'll add a task to it with the linked resource. So now a task is added to this list with a linked resource. It has a resource like this resource has a web URL, application name. Let me add one more task here. So if I go back and see the contents of the list, I can see that it has two lists now. So we do see that there are two lists. Our to-do task API support all kind of supports. Most of the OData filters will try to filter it on one of the property. So it did return one of the tasks which had this name followed with Avijit. So now that we have created this task and the task list, we can go back and check. So this is so instantaneous. The task list that I had been creating on using the Graph APIs is already available on our to-do app. This is the linked resource that Rohit had mentioned. And if I click on this, I can directly land onto the page from where my resource originated. So this explains the task list linked resource APIs. Apart from that, we also support Delta. So if I just were to do a Delta call on task list, we have two tasks right now, and I'll go and create one more task here. Add a new task. So I've added this new task to the list we have created. And after that, if I go and make the Delta call, I should be able to fetch only the changed resources. So the newly added task is available to us. So these are all the new APIs that we have added. Please try out and let us know. Rohit, is there anything you want to add on it?
Yep. And yeah, so thanks for talking about it. I think what we can talk about now is what is next. So the beta APIs are available now. You can try, use it, and build applications. And we are releasing the GA. We are taking these APIs to GA by November timeframe. So you can plan your product release accordingly. And we'll be happy to hear what more you'd like to hear or see in that. Apart from that GA timeframe, we are actually working on webhooks, which is not available right now, but that's the next item we'll be bringing, and hopefully we'll be releasing that to our beta APIs very soon. So webhooks is on our chart next, and there are some properties which are missing in Outlook tasks. From the Outlook task, for example, Attachment is not there today. Categories are not there today. So some of these APIs we're gonna work in future. It's in our backlog. We'll continue to work on it, and we'll share the details as soon as they come to some release timeframe. And we'd love to hear more about how you plan to use it and what you want to do with them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the demonstration, Bhakti. It's great to see even things like the Delta query support in there. I know that's a common request from a lot of partners and customers. And Rohit, thank you so much for the information. We have a couple of questions from the chat window on here. Do you have any roadmap items for either GitHub or Azure DevOps support?
At this point, that is, both of them are in our backlog. But are you asking in terms of APIs, or it's the integration on the product side?
We had a number of people asking for this. So if anyone wants to come off mute and either speak up or put more information into the chat window, that'd be helpful. I believe Vincent and Gary and one other person had asked about that.
To clarify, I think in terms of product integration, we are looking for having that integration. Azure DevOps and GitHub, these are in our backlog, currently not being prioritized. So I'm not sure when they will come up, but they are in our radar. In terms of supporting these integrations through APIs, I don't think we have something concrete yet, but we would love to hear what exact requirements or suggestions you might have. If someone clarifies that would be helpful.
Hi, Rohit. Yeah, it's Gary. So I asked the question because I was looking at this at build, and I noticed that on the build slides it did have DevOps there, and GitHub was there as well. But it seems like DevOps has just dropped, and GitHub is the one that everyone wants to go to, which is fine. That's okay for open source, and not all enterprises are moving that way. You know, for customers and for our own use, having that integration with Azure DevOps would be perfect. So I was just kind of, is it the way that Microsoft are taking this? Is DevOps just, the behind GitHub? So if there's any roadmap, because otherwise, the linked resources, it might be, okay, build it yourself. But wouldn't want to go to those lengths if it's already planned in.
So as I understand, you're looking for product integration, not relevant to API discussion, right?
Yeah, I would hope. I'd hope that it would come out of the box, but yeah.
Gary, I think very fair question, and I'm not aware of GitHub versus DevOps, so I won't comment on that. But both of them are part of our backlog, yes, and we want to prioritize them. But thank you for this feedback. I think that adds weight to the backlog, and we'll definitely discuss it internally and get back to you over the roadmap, or maybe personally we can chat.
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I got an additional question on here. If we complete a task in To Do, will that update a Jira task status as well?
Sorry, I missed that question. Can you repeat, please?
I believe it says if you have a linked Jira task, if you complete the task in To Do, will that also update the Jira task as well?
Right. So that requires a proper integration, and that requires a service to maintain both the areas. So at this point, we don't have that out-of-box integration. Yasun, which is our vendor, which is our partner, provides exactly that service. And with their integration, once you complete the Jira task, it completes the task in Jira as well. So yeah, that's where these partners come into the picture. And yeah, it's a great solution there.
Okay, and we have time for one last question here. I see that you mentioned we have delegated access. Is application or app-only access on the roadmap?
Definitely, that's part of our backlog. It's still not part of our roadmap yet, but it's part of the backlog, and it's on the top. So we hope to pick that up as soon as possible. But yeah, right now we don't have a timeline for that.
Okay. Well, there's a few more in chat, but we'll follow up with you offline and see if we can get answers for those and then relay them back to the people requesting those. Again, Rohit and Bhakti, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you working through some of the technical hurdles we had on there, and glad we got that working.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Brian.
Thanks for having us, and thanks everyone for your time today.
All right, as we are at the close to the top of the hour, we will move into our last section on here. Do want to call out that Microsoft Ignite is coming up. This is going to be happening on September 22nd to the 24th. This will be a digital-only event, similar to what we had with Microsoft Build earlier in this year. You may have also heard that we're actually splitting up Microsoft Ignite into 2 separate events. There's going to be one here in September of this year. There'll be a follow-on one as well in early 2021. So if there's something you don't hear about or something you're looking for more information on, do note that we have another event coming up early into calendar year 2021. If you'd like to sign up, register, find out what kind of content and topics are being discussed, you can go to ignite.microsoft.com. As well, you can follow on our Twitter handle, which is Microsoft365Dev, for all the news, information, other things to follow along with for our community events as well as our Ignite conference. For those of you who are interested, we are also running a Microsoft Graph TAP program. As part of this technology adoption program, we offer a number of benefits for those who are members of this. We do host a monthly call, which happens on the first Wednesday of the month, which actually happens to be tomorrow. And as part of that, we do workload deep dives. So going into various APIs or things that are coming. These are all NDA discussions, so you will have to have an NDA in place for that. But we also share a lot of information around early access or things that are coming down the road, as well as a way for you to get feedback directly to the product groups and to the workload owners who are actually building the APIs on top of Microsoft Graph. If you're interested in submitting to join the TAP program, you can find the link at the bottom on here, aka.ms/graph-tap-form. Please fill that out. We usually review those on a weekly basis, and you'll hear back from us once we've had a chance to review submissions. Also, there are a number of other M365 developer community calls that happen throughout the month. I can see a number of them listed here. The way to get to all of them is kind of an all-up view. At the bottom, you can see our aka.ms/M365dev calls. Feel free to check them out. A lot of additional information that's very great to complement what we're seeing here in the Microsoft Graph space. Also, our own Jeremy Thake and Paul Schaeflein, they host a Microsoft 365 developer podcast. You can find them at www.m365devpodcast.com. A couple of their previous sessions talking about Fluent UI, Microsoft Lists, Microsoft To Do as well. So a lot of great content out there that you can go and be able to find and consume as a supplement to our community calls here as well. And as always, a recording will be posted up to our YouTube channel, aka.ms/M365Dev YouTube. The recording will be there shortly, once we had a chance to kind of go through and clean that up. Our next session will be on October 6th, again at 8 a.m. Pacific time. If you're looking for the invite link, you can find that as well down at the bottom of our slide on here. And as we're at the top of the hour, thank you all so much for joining today. Thank you again to all of our presenters for sharing their information and additional insights onto APIs that are releasing and other great stuff like that. So thank you so much for your time, everyone, today. We look forward to seeing you next month, and have a great day.